What is up, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about two huge mistakes that everyone is doing when it comes to intermittent fasting. Stay tuned. Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Undone Watches, and if you haven't seen this beautiful watch that I've been wearing recently, this is from Undone Watches. All of their straps feature a quick release bar which enables you to change straps very quickly, and it's great for fashion when you want to wear different clothing with different color schemes. You can match it to your watch. They offer a vintage theme range which is inspired by the 60s classical chronograph watches. The watch features a hybrid movement and a stopwatch with a quick release. Ooh, just look at that. It almost looks digital, but it's not. So Undone Watches creates custom watches for their clients for a very affordable price. And if you guys are interested in the watch, click the link in the description and it will take you directly there so you can start customizing your own watch. Make sure to use the promo code FLEDGE20 and it'll give you 20% off the watch, and you'll be supporting me at the same time. Okay, now let's get into those two huge mistakes that people are making. Everyone that I see is making these two mistakes. Number one is completely disregarding calorie counting. Now I know that there is a battle, a war between calories in versus calories out in intermittent fasting. And I myself believe that intermittent fasting is much more important than just the caloric restriction. But the key word there is just the caloric restriction. It is still very important for you to manage your calories. Now, why do I say this is a mistake? This is a mistake because later down the line, you're not going to be losing any more weight. When you want to get past that little threshold where it's just the belly fat or just the lower belly fat and you don't know why it's not coming off, it's because of the habits you form doing intermittent fasting. The thing with intermittent fasting is it's so powerful, it can create caloric deficits very easily. Therefore, some people think that they don't even need to focus on a caloric deficit because they're just losing weight simply by doing intermittent fasting, which that's an amazing thing about intermittent fasting is that it compresses everything, so it's very hard for you to consume more calories than you're supposed to. But it will have its limits and you will actually hit a barrier at one point because you will not be utilizing a caloric deficit. And if you're not utilizing a caloric deficit, then what happens? You stop losing weight. Even though intermittent fasting will still give you beneficial things without the weight loss, if you decide to stay at a caloric maintenance or a caloric surplus, you still won't be losing the weight. I've seen so many people out there, so many people come to me and tell me, hey, I lost all this weight. I've lost 50 pounds, but I just can't lose this last bit. And then I ask them, are you counting your calories? And they always come back to me and say, I thought you didn't have to count calories with intermittent fasting. You do have to count calories. You don't have to go crazy, but you have to at least know how much calories are on your plate or a rough estimate so that you're aware of a caloric deficit or a caloric surplus. That's all it is. You just need to make sure that calorie intake is controlled. So one might say, well, what's the point if you have to think about the calories? Well, you could be in a rough estimate with intermittent fasting. It doesn't have to be perfect the amount of calories that you're counting, but you have to be close at least. And with intermittent fasting, unlike just caloric restriction, you're burning the calories that you actually want to burn because you're insulin sensitive. Guys, please focus on your calories. For bare minimum, when you're doing intermittent fasting and you're losing weight without focusing on calories, that's awesome. But if you notice that you stop losing weight and it's not working for you the way it did before, then start counting calories. And mistake number two that I see so many people doing, and I have to address this because I don't want you guys to fail, is going into an unsustainable fasting regimen. It doesn't necessarily have to be that it's prolonged fasting or even the lean gains fasting. Just going into an unsustainable fasting regimen that you know with your lifestyle you can't pull off. Some people just don't even focus on what exactly they need to do, but just say to themselves, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and fast right now. I'm gonna start the process right now. Don't think through anything in terms of where they work, in terms of their own personal lifestyle, and if they're going to be able to keep it up. On the other end of the spectrum, some people just say to themselves, all right, I have all this weight on me, I just want to take it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 7-day fast or 2-week fast. 7-day fast is fine. I don't recommend it because you don't have to go past the 48-hour mark if you're basing it on health benefits from intermittent fasting on top of weight loss. Now, if you just care about weight loss, you will be completely insulin sensitive if you just don't eat for about 1 week. Yes, you will be insulin sensitive, so you're going to just drop a lot of weight. That's going to happen. But the thing that you don't want is for you to feel that you need to go back to the way you were before because you felt deprived of food. And the moment that you break your routine, that chemical release in your brain will make you want to quit the entire thing and then just start eating all over again. And you can undo everything you worked so hard for or put yourself through with a 7-day fast or a 2-week fast, simply because the regimen was too drastic. I would recommend staying within a 24-hour mark or a 48-hour mark, but if you're brand new to intermittent fasting, start much smaller. Then work your way up to a 20-hour fast, a 23-hour fast, a 48-hour fast. Work your way up to those so that you are comfortable, your body gradually shifted, and then you can actually sustain the regimen. Because it isn't just about when you lose the weight, it's also about the lifestyle. You want to do it for the rest of your life. And the only way to do it for the rest of your life is if it is a very comfortable thing for you to do. You need to condition your body to create the scenario that this thing that you're doing is actually very comfortable. I've gotten to the point where intermittent fasting is so comfortable that eating so much has become, even the thought of that is uncomfortable for me, because my lifestyle has just been so streamlined when it comes to eating with the intermittent fasting regimen. You want to make it where your normal is fasting and it's flipped to the point where everything else seems just undoable because intermittent fasting is where it's at. I have so many people that I know from here on YouTube, friends, family, acquaintances, coworkers, that when they start the intermittent fasting regimen and they ask me the questions and I help them out, they're so gun-ho, they want to lose the weight so badly, they do this unrealistic number, they hold on to this unrealistic number for maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sometimes they do really well, they lose so much weight, and then they still quit because they just couldn't sustain it. It was just too much for them. And it's amazing. They'll lose weight, they'll see the effectiveness, they'll feel better, they'll see that it's working, yet they still quit. So I'm giving you a fair warning. Don't do something that's too drastic, because then you may not be able to come back from it when you break the whole regimen. You may just completely lose all of your enthusiasm and everything, and then just go by the wayside and forget about intermittent fasting altogether. So I recommend that you do a slow, gradual increase and then cap it at 48 hours when it's all said and done for the health benefits. Now, if you want to do drastic weight loss, if you want to really lose weight and that's the only thing you're focused on, and you don't care really about the health benefits and you don't care about the normal benefits that start to diminish after 48 hours, then maybe you could go ahead and try a 7-week fast once in a blue. And these are the two huge mistakes that I've been seeing people do in this intermittent fasting community. So hopefully this has helped you get into a better regimen so that you can go ahead and do intermittent fasting for the rest of your life.